Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special broadcast of Between the Lines Side-Out Volleyball this time. Hope you guys are all having a great night tonight. I'm here with Zac McVey. Zac, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing, Chris?
Well, you know what? I'm pretty excited because we're getting ready to watch a really, really good matchup of two rival conference schools, and I think there's a lot on the line tonight.
There's a lot. We're talking bragging rights from the local communities. We're talking conference championship on the line. And you say exciting, this atmosphere. I mean, we're 10 plus minutes away, and this gym is rocking and rolling with all the people in the stands, with the music that's going. Both teams here are getting warmed up. And Chris, I'm going to tell you right now, I think we are in for a show.
I 100% agree, man. I mean, I'll tell you, it's both teams are just loaded.
Well, we talked a little bit about off air here, the amount of athleticism, the height, and now that they're kind of warming up, the power that these girls are going to have, whether it's in their serves, whether it's going to be in their spikes. I mean, there's all staters all across this floor that we're going to see tonight. There's collegiate players that have signed, some more athletes that are going to probably sign. And then you've got, if this was basketball season, Dickie V would be talking about the diaper dandies. We have freshmen that are in these starting roles. I mean, it is going to be, I think, just an electric game tonight.
Oh, 100% agree, man. I mean, like I said, it's one of those games that I circled it a long time ago. I said, man, I got to make sure I'm at that game.
Exactly.
Because there's so much there with both teams and how well they match up. And again, it's going to be pretty exciting. So we look at a little bit of both teams right now coming in. Zac, what do we know about them?
Well, let's talk first about visiting Jefferson R-7. They are 22-4-1 on the year. They are 2-0 in conference play. I call it the JCC. I think everybody else calls it the JCAA. Whatever you have it, they're undefeated. They're in Class 2 District 3, and they're actually hosting the districts this year, and they are led by Coach Tara Fish. And right now, they are ranked number 2 in Class 2. And a little bit about St. Pius and just their overall record. They sit at 17-2. They are currently 3-0 in conference play. They're in Class 4 District 1, which is all going to be hosted by Farmington, so all the way down 67, and they are led by Coach Shannon Lethbridge. And so we could talk a little bit about both teams. Already, you talk about just a boatload of wins. Jefferson R-7, they finished they've won the Seckman tournament. They went 2-2-1 at the prestigious SEMO tournament down in Cape Girardeau. They finished second at the Lutheran St. Charles tournament. And whether it was the Lutheran St. Charles tournament or the SEMO tournament, you talk about some big schools. I mean, R7 only being Class 2, but playing a variety of teams both in the northern St. Louis area and all the way down SEMO, Mineral area, and further south, Cape Girardeau, almost in the boot heel. St. Pius, they've won the Legacy VTC tournament at the beginning of the year, and then they went 3-1 at their Eureka tournament just this past weekend. St. Pius is ranked number 5 in Class 4. So what's unique about this situation, Chris, is that both of these teams, in terms of enrollment, are the same size. So roughly both teams should be in Class 2, but with the championship factor that the state has, and you can look at all around Ralph Boyer Gymnasium, and you can see all these banners that are silver and white, and most of them are going to be volleyball-type banners. And that's part of the reason why they're in Class 4, because St. Pius has been dominant, and they've been dominant for a very, very long time.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, it all starts at the top with Coach Leftridge, and this is her 6th year as the head coach. She has overall coaching record of 121, 40, and 10. Back in 2017, they won the Class 2 state championship before the championship factor, and took 2nd place in Class 2 in 2019. Last year, they were the Class 4 District 1 champions, I believe, is District 1. And, what you were talking about earlier, talk about the youth of St. Pius, also led by Hannah Leftridge, a sophomore. She is a returning All-State player. She made the All-State team as a freshman last year, and also sits with 192 digs this year and 224 kills.
Yeah, 224 kills, that's good enough for 10th in the St. Louis area, and she's tied for 9th in the amount of kills per game, and she's tied with a girl on the other side for R7, and that's going to be Emma Breyer. But if you want to keep talking a little bit,
okay.
there you go, right there.
Emma Breyer.
So Emma Breyer, talk about All-State. She's a returning All-State player for Jefferson. She ranks 4th in the St. Louis metro area in total kills at 277. And like we said, she's tied for 9th with Hannah Leftridge for the amount of kill average.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, let's just look at it. There's just a plethora of talent coming over here from R7. They have 4 players who made the Class 2 All-State team. Not all district, not all conference, all-state
Not
team.
all region,
Right.
all-state.
All-state. After finishing 3rd place last year with a school record of 33 wins, these seniors have combined in 4 years for a record of 91, 27, and 2. And have a combined 12 all-conference selections. And moving right along to the next one, we're talking about Ava Roth. She's one of those players that's all-state, 3-time all-conference first team, 1,325 career digs. That's 12th most all-time in the state. Not just around here or whatever, it's the state. And she's also committed to the University of Arkansas.
That's Division I.
That is Division I. We're not talking about Arkansas Pine Bluff or Arkansas State.
Now, she's going to be an outside hitter for Jefferson when she makes the transition up to Division I next year. Because of her height, she's going to be a back row player. And so she has expressed that she really wants to enjoy this last high school season being a front row outside hitter.
Right. And then we have Paige Siebert, another all-state player, 3-time all-conference, 1,159 assists. In 2021, that was the 2nd most all-time in a season. And 2,348 career assists. And that's a heck of a career for a volleyball player right
Exactly.
there.
She's one to watch, and I know talking with Coach Fish a little bit, there's some other girls that have already signed to play. Ava Roth was one of them. She's still undetermined or undecided yet if she's going to play, but she has the statistics that can back that up and play at the next level.
And lastly, before we get into the national anthem, we have I'm going to butcher
Kirsten Lloyd.
Kirsten. I knew it was Kirsten.
Yep.
And she's another all-state player. She's committed to Missouri Southern. She's the 2nd most kills in Class 2 in 2020 with 472. That's a school record. And she was also the 2021 JCA Small Schools Player of the Year. So we're going to jump right into our
first break because they're getting ready to have prayer. They're getting ready to have the national anthem.
Yep, so we will catch you guys here in a little bit. You're watching Between the Lines Side Out Volleyball. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Ralph Boyer Gymnasium for Between the Lines Side Out Volleyball. We've got that big-time matchup that we've all circled on our calendars if you're a fan of Jefferson County volleyball tonight. We've got the Jefferson R-7 Lady Blue Jays, ranked second in Class 2, playing against, well, we kind of seem like homers, but that's okay.
Hey, we're here. We're doing this. We're doing this show. We wanted to try it out, and you know what? Hey, it's free.
That's right.
And we're the only media that's doing it.
And we're here to see the Jefferson Blue Jays play the St. Pius X Lancers, ranked 7th in Class 4. And be hard to hear us right now because we got a speaker right behind us. But there's a light show going on. That's something, you know, coming into St. Pius, they started doing that when I first got hired here. And our kids just love it. Got the smoke machine going. They got the spotlight. And I'll tell you what, people at home right now can't see it, obviously, and probably they might see some heads throughout the bleachers, but this place is packed.
It is absolutely packed. It is we'll call it a super spreader event 2.0. What do you think, Chris?
Well, we're not going to bring the post dispatch down here, if that's what you're wondering.
So somebody else should be covering it because we've got 2 state-ranked opponents, 2 conference rivals getting ready, set off to try and do whatever they can to win this JCAA Small School Volleyball Championship. And you know, Chris, I got to tell you, I think it's going to be a battle between some experience versus youth. Who do you think has the edge when we're talking about experience and youth?
Well, I think you definitely have to go with experience. We were kind of talking about it pregame a little bit about all the experience that these Blue Jays have coming in playing in the Final Four last year, and you know you can't simulate that.
No,
you can't do that in practice. You know, you got your varsity first team playing against your JV. Well, you can't simulate the kind of experience and then understanding the moment, not letting nerves get a hold of you. I mean, there's a lot that goes to it.
Well, besides that, you talk about can't simulate experience. Another thing that you can't simulate is height. And right now, I'm going to give that advantage to St. Pius. Now, we're talking about the difference between a few inches here and there, but as we go through the lineup, I mean, it is marked difference in terms of the height that St. Pius is going to have compared to R7. And looking at both teams as they were warming up in pregame, you definitely saw on the eyes of Jefferson, hey, we're about that business. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take care of it tonight. And you saw a little bit of youth, a little bit of nerves here, only having 1 senior as they celebrated senior night. And so we'll go through.
Well, we just lost our camera.
Well, hey, there it is. We'll go through. And Chris and I have never done play-by-play on a volleyball game before, so we will definitely butcher it. But as we go through, we'll kind of let things play out, talk a little bit about some of the different players. As our 7 is going to go ahead and take the serve, that's going to be a serve out of bounds, and the Lancers are going to take over 1-0. So let's go through some of the starting lineups or some of the rosters for both R7 and for St. Pius. For R7 on the bench, for the roster, we have number 1 junior, that's Beth Dalton. That's number 3, Bella Price. Number 8, Macklin McPeters. As we have a tip, that's going to be a point going to the Lancers, 2-0. Number 9, Grace Neal. She's a junior. A senior, number 10, Grace Lowry. Number 11, Ava Roth. We've talked about the Arkansas commit. Number 12, that's Megan Wood. Number 15, Kirsten Lloyd. She's committed to Missouri Southern. As we have a point here by our 7, bringing the score up to 2-1. Number 16, Avery Richardson, another senior on this team. She's getting some college offers and looks as well. Number 22, Paige Siebert. She's the senior setter. And number 26, Emma Breyer. She's a senior that's signed with Pitt State. As our 7's going to take the serve. It's going to be passed over from Rubel over to Leffridge with a spike and kill for Leffridge, bringing the score up to 3-1. And for St. Pius, Their roster includes freshman number 3, Elena Rubel, as St. Pius is going to take the serve. That's number 8, Carly Lane. She's the libero for the Lancers. It's going to be an unforced error. R7's going to take the point 3-2. Number 5, All-Stater Hannah Leffridge, sophomore, we talked about. Number 6, Emma Frazier, she's a junior. Number 7, Ann Mikowski, she's a sophomore, as we have a serve here by R7. Received by St. Pius, passed, spiked. Nice kill there. Right off of the chest of number 10. That's Grace Lowry. And St. Pius with an early 4-2 lead as we continue to make our way through the lineups. Number 8, Carly Lane, we said, is the libero. That's number 9, Peyton Myers. Number 10, Sophie Machad. Number 12, Sydney Otek. As we have a Ava Roth, and the non-sanctioned official is going to say that it is out of bounds, and they are going to award the point to St. Pius, even though they haven't put the, they're going to say instead that the point is awarded to Jefferson. We get the set over to Lethbridge. They're going to call it in.
Called it in. That was a heck of a kill right there. That's a perfect place ball.
And so St. Pius will take the point. We have a good vantage right there from our point of view. Roth picks it up. It's going to be a slam there by Kirsten Lloyd at R7. 1 point away from tying this ball game up as we can finish the lineups. Number 12, Sydney Otek. Number 13, freshman Bennett Ratterman. And number 15, Hannah Birch. As R7 takes the serve, it's going to be received, passed over. Birch with a two-handed pass over the head of R7. They pick up the point, 6-4. Talk about senior Hannah Birch. She's the only senior for St. Pius, and she actually is signed to the University of Health and Sciences and Pharmacy.
We just had a substitution, right?
Had a substitution, number 1, Beth Dalton in for Jefferson. Have a pass over to Lloyd. It's going to be tipped. Pius unable to recover the tip, and R7 will take the point. 6-5. Pius clinging to an early 1 point lead.
I feel that this is going to be the way the game goes.
I think
I could be wrong, but
well, St. Pius, R7 gets the tip out into the corner. That is going to be just out, and St. Pius will take the 2 point lead, 7-5. And Chris, there's just so much action going on here. And like you said, I think this is going to be a 5-game barn burner.
I mean, I'm sure nobody really wants to see that if you're trying to get home soon, but everybody wants to see it if you're here and you're a fan of the game.
Ratterman with the spike. It was tipped. But that tip landed just on the Lancer logo, and St. Pius taking a 3-point lead here at 8-5.
I think both teams are going to be able to block a lot of attacks at the net. And it's going to be who can dig those out, because there's another tip right there at the net.
Rubel over to Ratterman. Once again, that's going to be blocked. Sievert over to Lloyd. It's going to be stuffed, but it will be out of bounds. If it's called out of bounds.
Nope, it's because it was touched by the Lancers.
So R7 will pick up the point here, 8-6.
It was close.
Lloyd with the serve.
Good dig.
Ratterman with the block, and that is also going to be out. And just like that, R7 getting back in this ball game, 8-7. Lloyd with another serve. It's going to be picked up. Passed over to the left side. Ratterman gets it.
A little softer on that kill.
Yep. That's Breyer with a nice spike. Picked up by Lethbridge, but nobody there to get it. And just like that, Jefferson ties this ball game at 8-8. And Chris, I think, obviously we talk about momentum. I think volleyball is a sport that has so much momentum involved with it.
Absolutely, because if you score, you keep the ball.
That's Mikowski on a spike, but that's blocked by R7. Looked like Emma Breyer there, I believe.
I believe that's about 4 straight points now that the Blue Jays have reeled off.
So timeouts are always going to be crucial here in this game of momentum as the Lancers get the receive. That's Raderman with a huge spike of her own, the 6'3" freshman. Yes, Chris, that's freshman. Ties this ball game up at 9-9.
That's really hard at that angle to dig that thing out when it's coming in and doesn't even make it to the 10-foot line.
So we have, it looks like, maybe a substitution. Emma Frazier in for the Lancers. She's going to go ahead and serve the junior.
Can't see her on the screen. We've got a couple times Lancers start way back.
Going to be received, passed over, looks like to Roth. Also received. Rubel on the pass. Back over to Lethbridge.
That's 4.
And that's going to be a violation. It looks like a 2-hit for St. Pius. And R7's going to take the 10-9 lead.
Yeah, you know, you're going to see a little sloppy play here. Both teams a little nervous, but we're starting to settle in. It's going to be that kind of game.
Mm-hmm. So R7 gets the serve, handled by Frazier. Raderman with another spike. And Chris, I just see it right away. We talked about the height. Not only are they tall, they're also getting up there with their verticals, and you see a downward trajectory on that spike.
It's one thing whenever you're putting that spike at about 45 degrees. Another thing when you're bringing it in that hot. I'm telling you.
Coming in hot. Carly Lane takes a serve. It's going to be another unforced error for the Lancers. Jefferson will take over 11-10. With the serve, serving for the Blue Jays, that's number 10, Grace Lowry. She's a senior libero.
It's a senior-laden team right
It
there.
is. As Mashad with the spike is going to be received. Now Roth on a spike. That's going to be blocked by Mashad. And you can hear the St. Pius Lancer fans in the stands cheering with that block by Sophie Mashad.
Yeah, the height's going to be big for the Lancers, and then as Jefferson substitutes and moves around on the rotation, getting to where they can do the same at the net.
You know, you talked, Chris, a little bit about experience. This young St. Pius team, as we have a tip out of bound point that's going to go to R7. You know, St. Pius, their schedule this year, they have played some big time teams in the St. Louis area. They played Nearings Hall, who is a fantastic large school in the St. Louis area, and defeated them. They played Incarnate Word, who's traditionally a basketball powerhouse, but they also, as the Lancers, will get a point and tie this ball game up 12-12.
I just got to say, that was a heady play by Lethbridge right there. She anticipated that the block was coming at the net. Nice little tip across the court. I mean, special player.
Lethbridge with the serve. Off the net. Lloyd with the spike. Saved by Lane.
Great dig.
Passed over now to Roth. She hits it. That's going to be received by Lethbridge. Birch with a soft dink. Siebert with the pass going over to Breyer. Saved again by the Lancers, so we have our first long volley here. Breyer with it. Passed over to Siebert. Nobody there. And that's going to be St. Pius point, 13-12.
What a great rally that was.
That was a great rally.
But you were saying earlier about the Lancers schedule, and after this now being the third year with the championship factor, the Lancers been bumped up to Class 4 because of all their past success over the last 7 years. They got to play those big schools because that's who they're going to play.
Exactly. As R7 there takes the point and evens it up at 13-13. Well, you said last year St. Pius won the district, and they were in Class 4 District 2 last year.
District 2.
They've moved this year to Class 4 District 1, and that's going to be hosted by Farmington, as we have McPeters with a serve, Rubel with the pass going to Mikowski, and that's going to be out of bounds from our vantage point, as both Lancer fans and our 7 fans, as we have a sign that we don't exactly know, but our 7 is going to take the point, as Coach Fish giving directions over to McPeters. Pass from Rubel over to Birch. Blocked, but it's going to land right at the feet of Lloyd as this ball game is tied up 14-14. And Chris, I don't think we've had a lead, my memory serves me, more than 3.
No, and R7's had the biggest lead of the game so far. And I apologize. We've had some camera issues. We're kind of wondering if it's not just the crowd and everything in here.
I guess
so if the camera goes out, we're going to keep going. We'll figure it out.
Nice block there by Birch off of the ceiling.
Free ball across.
R7, Lloyd. Stuffed. Mikowski with a heady play there. Putting it down where nobody's at, and St. Pius takes the 15-14 lead. And so both of these teams, you talk about common opponents. There really isn't that many common opponents, but the big name that they do have is St. Pius is going to serve here, and that's number 10, Otech. The one common opponent is Roth with a nice spike that can't be played by R7. Their common opponent's Farmington, and Farmington is the real deal down in the MAAA.
Yeah, they are, and the Lancers, they split with them in a tournament earlier this year, but
as we had
lost them as their first regular season loss.
As Roth has a uncanny error there, service error. It's going to bring the score 16-15, and so Farmington is kind of the program down right now in the MAAA. You talk about a group of players, whether it be volleyball or basketball, kind of like this R7 senior team. Farmington is a senior-laden team as well, and both the Lancers and the Blue Jays have had some success with Farmington. And so, we looked at games here as Birch gets the serve, going to be passed off Sievert to Roth, going right back across the net. That's Ratterman. It's going to be initially stopped by Siebert, I believe, but it goes out of bounds, point to the Lancers, and the Lancers with an 18-15 lead.
Yeah, it's been momentum back and forth, whichever team's kind of getting on a little run right here.
So I know absolutely nothing about volleyball, but over the years I've heard, depending on what the...
What a great play right there.
Yes, what a great play, which goes out of the window what I was going to say when it comes to the points. If they go to 25. If you get the first one normally to 20 wins if they have a lead of 3 points or more. And right now, St. Pius with a 2-point lead, 18-16, as we have a nice stuff here by Richardson on Ratterman. Ratterman again, dinks it over, looked to possibly go out of bounds. Rubel, she sets it over. Siebert with the pass over to Breyer. That's going to be deflected. Instead, it's going to go Rubel to Mikowski, and instead, they're going to call 3 hits on St. Pius, and Jefferson will take the point, 18-17.
Yeah, and just a good rally. It's trying to make sure they don't have unforced errors. I mean, that's the hard thing about it in a game like this. We'll stay right here. It's a timeout right now, but that's a great part about it.
Did you want to show some of the graphics for?
Yeah, so we talk about a couple of, we've already mentioned her a couple of times, but Bennett Ratterman and Elena Rubel, I mean, when you're talking about freshmen, and we said experience is important, and, seniors over freshmen, these freshmen have played a lot of volleyball in their time, and I never like to give club sports or AAU sports a lot of credit being a high school coach, but I'll tell you what, these girls, they're competitive. They play hard. They're carrying the water every day, and they look like they played some volleyball in their time.
Exactly. The 6'3" Ratterman just really kind of unfazed right now. And Rubel, you talk about just an athletic family. I mean, both older brothers. They've been able to play some college sports as well. So she's been tried and true and tested by the brothers growing up here. As Ratterman gets a spike that goes across.
Free ball again.
Pass set to Mikowski. She gets a nice spike that hits the light off of the receive there, and that's going to be a point to the St. Pius Lancers, 19-17.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. You're trying to play it off the ceiling. Here in St. Pius, that ceiling's tough to play because all the rafters and openings. It's not a flat ceiling.
Well, you talk about go back in the day, Grandview with their old high school, was probably about 13 feet at best.
Felt like it anyway.
Felt like it.
Good dig.
We get a pass all the way across from Leffridge. Siebert with the pass intended for Breyer. A couple players up at the net. Birch going to finally settle it. That's going to be Ratterman. Breyer gets it. Lloyd gets it across the net. Lloyd takes it. Pass over to Leffridge. Tries to dink it right across. Now we get his pass over to Breyer. Nice dig there by Lloyd. And we have another rally, and that looks like Rubel with the heady play as Ratterman with the push celebration, freshman to freshman.
You know, hey, I'll tell you what, both teams right now they both want to win.
Exactly.
And they are really showing it. Some really good play here.
So I would say St. Pius gets this point right now. It's going to be tough sledding for Jefferson. Jefferson can get this point. It's going to go down to the wire as Breyer looks to spike it. That's going to be out of bounds, and St. Pius will take the point, and we'll have another timeout on the floor.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man.
Action-packed, isn't it?
Action-packed. It's one thing about broadcasting football, Zach. There's another thing about doing this.
No.
There's no downtime here. This is our only downtime. So if anybody is expecting us to go and do commercials or something, nope.
Not right now.
Not right now, we're not.
No,
we're going to keep it right here. And I'll tell you what, between all the people in the stands and even sitting right here, you can see our little cameras shaking. This place is pumped.
We got dancing on the stage. It's homecoming week here for St. Pius, as there's just a bevy of different events and activities this week for the Lancers, and all of the Lancer faithful have come out, and they're in the corner, and so they're rocking and rolling, and the camera angle that we have up in the bleachers, you can see it. It's shaky because it's a house. It's a party right now as the Lancers are going to take over with Frazier with the serve. Received by R-7. Siebert with the pass.
This is a big point.
Over to Breyer. And R-7 with a nice point out of the timeout.
Yeah, that was a big point. If you're R-7, you had to have that right there.
Settles everything down as now we have senior number 22, Paige Siebert, up to serve.
You want to try to regain the serve and keep it.
Over to Frazier. Rubel with the pass. Going to Leffridge. Nice spike that's going to be tipped, but it is going to go out of bounds. And that's going to bring the score 22-18 in favor of the Lancers.
Yeah, and there ain't nothing you can do with that.
No.
Your job is just to try to block it, get a piece of it, and keep it in play, or send it back where it came from. And when it goes off your hands like that and out of bounds, that's just ain't much you can do.
So libero number 8, Carly Lane, in for the serve. Carly's actually been out with an injury to her lower foot, as we're going to have a point that looked like McPeters on the spike, kind of rolled across the net and just dropped in no man's land for the Blue Jays, bringing up the score 22-19.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky.
Better be lucky than good, right?
Well, she's pretty good too.
Oh, it almost had a pancake hit there, but that's number 10, Grace Lowry, on the ace.
Yeah, the same kind of play. Hits the net and rolls over.
And back in our day, I think the rule was it couldn't hit the net. I think that's changed over the years.
We also had side out. There's another one.
There's another ace there, going right back to it, almost by design.
It's like they drew that one up.
So that brings the score Lancers 22, Blue Jays 21. Another unforced error. So that's one thing that we've seen now on both sides. R-7 with a couple service errors, St. Pius with a couple service errors. We'll see if that one by Lowry comes back to bite him in the rear end, as Rubel looks to try and add to the Lancer score, 23-21. Received over to Siebert, passed over to Roth. That's going to be the non-sanctioned official. Both non-sanctioned officials, one calls it out, one calls it in. The St. Pius non-sanctioned official says that it's in. The R-7 non-sanctioned official calls it out. And this is why I don't like non-sanctioned officials.
Well, we just have an official shortage, Zach, and we've seen that quite a few times as our officials are having a little conference here at the stand.
So they're going to award it to the Lancers. Big break for St. Pius, as that's going to bring the score 24-21.
Yep, now we have match point right here.
And the reason why I don't like it is because it puts a lot of pressure on most of the time high school kids, and I don't think that's their job. As we almost have an ace, saved by McPeters. Rubel over to Birch. Birch gets her shot blocked. Siebert now with the pass over to Roth. She gets it blocked, but it gets blocked out of bounds, and Jefferson R-7 will take the point and the serve.
Yeah, I kind of think Siebert might have got away with maybe a little bit of a push, but that's okay. It happens.
Breyer with the serve. Frazier with the pass. Rubel to Leffridge. That's going to be out of bounds.
Nope, that's inbound.
Well, once again, the non-sanctioned official says that it was out. I don't know if she was trying to maybe avoid getting hit.
I think she was trying to avoid getting hit.
And so the top official rules that it's in, and just like that, we have our first game. The home St. Pius Lancers takes the first game 25-22. So, Chris, we've got about a 3-minute break. We'll go ahead and take a timeout here at Ralph Boyer Gymnasium. You are watching Between the Lines Side Out Volleyball Edition, brought to you by Off the Rails Media.
We'll be right back.
I'm the latest hashtag challenge, and everyone on social media is trying me. I'm trending so hard that hashtag common sense can't keep up. This is gonna get tens and tens of views. But if you don't have the right auto insurance coverage, you could be left to pay for this yourself.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
I have a question about my listing price.
Updating listing to Lizard Heights.
No, listing price.
Wizard Kites.
Can I talk to a real human agent, please?
All right, everybody, and welcome back to the start of the second set here at Ralph Boyer Gymnasium. We've got the Jefferson R-7 Blue Jays. They dropped a very, very, very close first set to the St. Pius X Lancers, 25-22. And, Zach, I'll tell you, this game has already lived up to all the hype.
Definitely. I mean, you see, once again, you've got multiple college players, signed players out on the floor for both sides, and you see the experience from R7. But I tell you what, you also, even the youth that served for St. Pius, they're not rattled.
No, and both schools, both groups of players, I mean, even when things are going bad, they look like there's there's emotion when they celebrate, but when things aren't going well, they don't get into this, I feel sorry for myself. And that's a result of having great players and great coaching.
Exactly. So we'll see what winds up happening for both the Lancers and the Blue Jays here. So we'll see if St. Pius, if they can kind of continue their dominance, or if the Blue Jays, how after their timeout after this set, if they can regather themselves.
And it looks like Aaron Judge just led off the game with his 60-second home run.
Nice.
He has the AL home run record.
Hey, there you go.
Some people might actually think that he's the one who has the record.
No, not this guy.
I know, Zach. We know.
Birch with the serve. Siebert going to tip it over to Ratterman. It's going to be saved over by Lane. Lefford just has to knock it back over to the net. Siebert now over to Breyer. Stuffed by Mikowski, but I believe they're going to say that it was either in the net or two hits.
Yeah, I
see the two. Okay.
Nope. Maybe they called 2 hits.
I don't know.
It hit 1-2 on her hand, so there's 2 hits.
So as Siebert now with the serve. Received by Leffridge. Rubel with the pass over to Ratterman. Picked up by Roth. Siebert over to Breyer. It's going to be out of bounds. And Chris, we talked about how is Jefferson going to respond after this first set. And I tell you what, they don't look bothered. They look like they've been there, done that.
Yep, and that's exactly what they have been. They've been to the top of the mountain and seen what the best of the best is.
Coach Fish making comments, talking to us prior to tonight as we have a hit out of bounds by the Lancers, and Jefferson with an early 3-0 lead. Coach Fish talking a little bit about this team and saying, hey, you know what, I like my guys. We got a lot of upperclassmen, and what's really cool is that a couple of these girls are going to get to play against each other in college.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, I was never good enough to play in college. So it'd been really neat if I got a chance to play with guys I knew.
So we have
I think the scoreboard here is
scoreboard
wrong.
is incorrect. Should be 3-1. There we go.
There it's
As
fixed.
St. Pius is going to take the serve. Frazier with it.
And that one came up here on the stage about knocked Coach McVey out. Well, trying to figure out what's going on up here. Well, Coach McVey lost his voice there for a second while he figures himself out. We'll keep it here. Emma Frazier with another serve. Trying to bring the Lancers back to even here. Tip ball at the net. And a kill by Avery Richardson. So the Blue Jays, they return the serve now. Retain the serve, excuse me.
All right, I'm back here.
Yeah,
we had an issue with that last ball, as Leffridge has an issue with that one, and R-7 will take the point. Yeah, that
Good transition right there.
that last spike was coming right in my head there, Chris, and it knocked the mic loose.
That's what you have. I mean, you got to have that thing on you so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's true. As Breyer hits it over, it's going to be received by Pius Ratterman with a high tip attempt. Now it's back row. Lloyd, Ratterman with the block, gets it another block, except it's going to go drop just short, and Jefferson with a 6-2 early lead.
Yeah, just not been able to capitalize right now. Timeout by the Lancers. Good timeout by Coach Leffridge. You know, she's been there, done that. Before she was the head coach, she was an assistant coach here, so she understands the Lancer legacy and was a part of the state championship team in 2016 as well.
So, Chris, my question is it complacency on the Lancers, or is it focus for the Blue Jays?
I don't think it's complacency by them, and I think both teams are very focused. Now, this second set might beg to differ as far as the score is concerned, with R-7 jumping out to an early 6-2 lead. But I look for the Lancers to settle down a little bit and play a little bit cleaner.
So Lowry with the serve. Rubel with the pass over to Ratterman. Lowry with a nice save. Roth has to get it over. And she's going to take the point there for R-7. St. Pius kind of just back on their heels. Roth just a little get me over, and nobody was there.
You just got to find the hole and hit it where they ain't.
Yep. Sounds like baseball right there.
Hit it where they ain't. Or how many times I've heard that.
Grace Lowry with the serve for Blue Jays.
Got to beat the shift.
Leffridge trying to do the exact same thing here now. We get a back row attack. That's going to be out of bounds. And just like that, I think we see our biggest lead of the evening on either sets. Jefferson with a 6-point lead early on with an 8-2 score.
Yeah, that one barely just got over the net.
Ratterman has to hit it over. Siebert with the pass over to Breyer. It's going to be received by Frazier. Leffridge spikes it. That's going to be just out of bounds, as the non-sanctioned official says nope, just out.
Now they've grown that lead a little bit.
Growing that lead to 7. Lowry continues to be at the serve. Right off of Leffridge. Ratterman has to get it over. Siebert with the pass, going to McPeters.
Good dig by Birch.
And Ratterman gets a spike, dug by R-7. Leffridge gets a spike, goes right into the net. And Chris, we're talking about maybe the early stages of a rout. Things don't change.
Yeah, right now R-7 just showing what that senior leadership is capable of right there. Breyer saved that one because that was going into the net and kept that ball alive.
Ratterman there with the spike and point for the Lancers, kind of getting off the schneid there. And we'll see if St. Pius can regain a little bit of composure and momentum for themselves.
Yeah, they got a little hole to dig themselves out of right now.
Lane with the serve. Received by Lowry.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds. St. Pius pick up another point.
Wasn't controlled very well right there.
That's something this game on both sides that we see, just the serve receive hasn't been as crisp as game one.
Right.
Lane with the serve. Siebert with the pass. Over to Roth. Dug nicely by Lane. Saved by Birch. Gets across by Rubel. Lowry with it. Siebert with the pass. Going right back to Roth. And Carly Lane couldn't pick it up. And that, you saw the athleticism of the Arkansas commit right there.
Yeah. I mean, for someone her size, the fact that she can get up that high, talking to Coach Fish, and she credits these girls' work ethic, getting in the weight room, and then the coaches over at R7 for what they do in the weight room.
So Breyer with a little soft serve picks up the ace.
R7 looks like they're trying to run away with this thing.
12-4 our score right now. Breyer with the serve. Little drop serve it looked like. Frazier with the pass over to Lethbridge. Lethbridge's going to go ahead and get the spike, and that's going to go in.
That looked like it might have been out.
Well, the non-sanctioned official pointed in. This is you talk about vantage points and shadows. It's almost kind of like tennis, where you just don't know. I mean, you expect it one way.
Can't go to that replay.
No replay in high school.
No.
Oh man. But we can go to a shot clock maybe in basketball, right?
No comment.
No comment. As Lethbridge tips it over, R7 barely to get it back. They are pass over to the left side. Lethbridge gets it stuffed.
But it rolls over.
Over and under.
And the Lancers pick up a point, trying to dig themselves out of this 6-point deficit.
So right now, Jefferson doubling St. Pius 12-6. As Rubel, the freshman, on to serve. Had a little knuckle on that serve. Siebert over to Lloyd. Lloyd just gets it over. Carly Lane with the pass. A little bit of a poor pass there. Forced Lethbridge off of her axis there. And Jefferson picks up a point almost on an unforced error.
I would call that an unforced error. She's going to have she has to find a way to free ball that thing over where it's trying not to do too much. I think she just tried to do too much right there.
Lethbridge with a spike that's going to be blocked by Lloyd. Instead, she's going to try to dink this one over Lowry, over to Roth. She dinks it out of bounds on the left side. It's going to give the Lancers a point. As we have a substitution, that's number 1, Beth Dalton coming in for number 8. That's McLean McPeters. We have another unforced error here for the Lancers.
And that's got to be a little demoralizing whenever you rally as hard as you do to get the serve and the point just to hit it right in the net.
Mm-hmm. Roth with the serve and right back gives the momentum and the point right back over to the Lancers.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
I've always said you could just hit the thing underhand and hit it over.
You could. But nobody's going to do that. Sydney Otek in the game now. She'll serve.
So Otek, the junior, as we have a rally here, Birch finally gets it across for the Lancers. Siebert with a heady play, trying to find a hole. Birch returns the edge. Siebert over to Lloyd. A little confusion between Lloyd and Roth. Now we have Ratterman. She gets, that's a nice play by Siebert. And we have a nice volley back and forth. And our seven's going to get the point off of what the official calls a lift for the Lancers.
That could have went either way. Lifts are always a judgment call, especially at the angles the kids are coming in. That's a tough one to make.
Lloyd now with the serve. And we get another ace for Jefferson. They've yet doubled up the Lancers again. This time it's 16-8. Jefferson in pretty much dominant control of this set, Chris.
We said this one's probably going to go to 5. I mean, Lancers are already up one set on them.
So Mikowski gets it over. Roth receives it. Siebert over to Breyer. Again, Breyer gets it. Nobody's there for the Lancers, the lack of communication. And Emma Breyer and the Jefferson Blue Jays will say thank you as we have another timeout here, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of unforced errors, a lot of just miscues as far as not having people communicate, or you get caught watching sometimes.
I think that's what it is. I mean, you talk about the adrenaline. Okay, well, the adrenaline dump is over for set number 1. And so now if you're R7, you said, hey, you know what? We took their shot. Let's go ahead and regroup. Let's just play our game. And that's exactly what's happened here as they have bolstered their lead 17-8. And so St. Pius kind of basically facing their first real adversity of this contest, and they're going to have to make some changes.
Well, I mean, the change they're going to have to make is just try to take care of the ball and not have silly mistakes, because right now that's kind of killing them.
Mm-hmm. So Jefferson out of the timeout will have the serve. Score 17-8 as Lloyd hits it right to left over to Birch. Passed over to Ratterman. Ratterman with a nice little save there is going to be a point for St. Pius.
Yeah, she saw the block was coming at the angle she was at and just made a heady play for a freshman right there to dink that one over.
Birch with the serve. Roth hits it over. And we're going to have a stop there by the freshman Rubel. And you can hear the St. Pius fans saying, ooh-hoo for Rubel.
Well, Elena's not very tall, but I'll tell you what, she's an athlete.
Birch with the serve over to Roth. Siebert makes the pass over to Breyer, picked up by Lloyd. Breyer's going to make this nice dig there by Leffridge as Ratterman just go ahead and gets it back across the net. And Siebert with a senior heady play there, just no man's land. Hits it right into no man's land.
She took a peek right before she went to set that ball and noticed there wasn't nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
Hit it where they ain't, Zach.
Yep. One thing I think over the years of watching some volleyball now and then, defense really wins in volleyball. As we have a block there by the Blue Jays. Ratterman, now she's just got to get it over. Siebert with the pass going over to Breyer. Have it tipped.
Off the left edge, out of bounds.
Nice kill shot there by Emma Breyer, the Pitt State commit. Pitt State in Kansas, I believe.
Yes, home of the Gorillas.
So Emma Breyer is actually going to be playing against teammate Kirsten Lloyd. Kirsten going to Missouri Southern, so that'll be an interesting time for Coach Fish if she makes it down for a ball game. As we have a kill shot there by the Lancers, I believe that was number 7. Oh, that was...
I believe that was Leffridge right there.
Leffridge there, all right. The All-State sophomore.
It's got to be tough being a coach's kid and playing.
Yeah.
Playing for a parent.
No, definitely, yeah. There's definitely that division between... Are you the parent now? Are you the coach? And are you the player? And are you the child? As we have an ace serve here by the Lancers, and we'll see if the Lancers can gain a little bit momentum here as the score is 19-12. Jefferson, if they can get another point, is going to almost put it out of reach unless there's a strong volley here by the Lancers. As Breyer gets a spike that is down, a little off balance, jumped off her left foot, going left to right, able to spike it in the back left-hand corner. And Chris with an 8-point lead, and you only need 5 points to go. I think traditionally they say the odds are in the favor of Jefferson. As Lowry, how many serves has she had this tonight, let alone this game, where she just hits that net and the ball just dies?
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, whatever works.
Yep.
Whatever you got to do to score points.
Grace Lowry, senior libero for the Blue Jays with the serve. Rubel with the pass over to Ratterman. Picked up by Lowry. Now it bounces off of the ceiling here at Ralph Boyer Gymnasium. Ratterman gets her shot blocked. Leffridge now puts it in the deep corner. Sieber tries to do the exact same thing. Carly Lane picks it up. Ratterman, nice little drop.
I mean, when you're that tall and you get up that high, you can kind of look and see what you want to do with the ball.
Exactly. Yeah, you have enough time to maybe try and assess a little bit on the floor Can I spike it, or maybe can I dink and dunk it somewhere where they're not? Carly Lane with the serve. Back corner, that is going to be in for an ace. Grace Lowry just kind of let it go. I think they talk about the rule of thumb. If it's at your shoulder as it's passing by, tend to let it go because it's probably going to be out of bounds, maybe not realizing where she's at on the floor. And St. Pius will say thank you as the score is now 21-14.
You're just playing the odds right there.
Right.
The way some of those serves are coming in, you said one of them knuckled a little bit. You just never know. Yeah, you got to play it like that.
Siebert over to Roth. She's going to dunk it over. Birch is going to pick it up. Rubel with a nice little heady play there. Instead of making the pass, she decides, you know what, I'm going to just hit it over to the net, over to the other corner. Picks up an unexpected point for the Lancers, as now Jefferson's lead is at 6, but they only need 4 points to go for the set.
See if Lancers can keep the serve and have this rally keep going.
Rubel over to Lethbridge. Thought she jumped a little early, but she still got a little bit on that spike. Now Rubel and Breyer coming together. Roth just gets it over for the third hit. Rubel's going to pass it over to Lethbridge. Lethbridge gets a nice spike. Lowry with a great save. Got a little momentum there, just over the head of Mashad, but Frazier able to knock it back over. Breyer goes looking left, went back to her right side, able to pick up the point.
No look.
No, that's exactly. Look kind of almost like a Patrick Mahomes type pass, right?
Patrick Mahomes or Magic Johnson.
There we go.
Both of them can pass really well.
Yep. As Breyer's going to have another service error. Now, Chris, I'll say in 2 games of play with 2 state-ranked opponents, but one number 2 and one number 5, I'm surprised at all the different service errors. I don't know if that's common or not in high school, but I would expect it's the easiest thing to do. Nobody's bothering you. You just hit it right over the net.
Well, these girls are gassed. These rallies they're taking some time.
As Lethbridge just hits it over, it's going to be deflected off of an R7 hand. It's going to drop right in the middle.
And right now, Lancers got it within 5.
Lancers going to have to try and win the next 3 points here if they're going to statistically or mathematically make it a game. As Rubel gets a nice knuckle serve right across. Siebert makes the pass over to McPeters. Mashad and Lethbridge try to get the block, but it goes right between them and off the floor. And that, I think, now with needing 2 points and you're up 6, probably all but seals the deal right now for Jefferson.
With their senior leadership, that's a good call.
Frazier, pass from Rubel over to Lethbridge. Nice kill. Nice kill there.
No, not yet.
Not yet. The All-State sophomore, as we'll have a substitution, and Mikowski comes in. And number 1, Beth Dalton comes in for Jefferson. And so you do have a few more girls for St. Pius come in, more traditional front row and back row, as now we're going to have set point after yet another service error for the Lancers. And Jefferson really basically with a 8-player rotation. St. Pius playing more, as Mikowski with a nice spike that's going to be saved by Roth. And right away, that is Kirsten Lloyd with the exclamation point that says, hey, you know what? We just won set number 2.
Yeah, and that's an exclamation point and a half. I mean, I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a play right there. But we're gonna kind of jump to a quick break right here. We come back, we'll have the start of the third set. You're watching Between the Lines, Side Out Volleyball, right here off the Rails Media. We'll be right back.
Imagine an HVAC as unnoticeable as the air itself. Sounds pretty good, huh? The new Daikin Fit. Air intelligence.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
New at Case & Buck's, all-you-can-eat soup and salad all day, every day. Choose from homemade soups like tortellini, loaded steak, green pepper, and many more. 7095 Metropolitan Boulevard in Barnhart, Missouri, just off 55. See our full menu at caseandbucksbarnhart.com.
You aren't looking for a cookie-cutter experience with your agent. You are looking for someone who is going to go above and beyond or think outside the box. You are looking for someone who is going to be there for you no matter what, and someone who is going to walk you through the entire process. My name is Kelly Kaufman with Gateway Real Estate, and my passion is the people I work with. Real estate is personal. A home is not just the four walls, it's the people who live there and the memories you share. That's why I focus on the people I serve and make them a top priority throughout the entire process. I'm there for you. No matter what your budget is, no matter where you are, and no matter how long it takes, I will be there with you every step of the way. If you are looking for an agent who cares about you and will do everything to make sure you are taken care of, give me a call, 314-221-6090.
All right, everybody, and welcome back to Between the Lines side-out volleyball, even though they don't have side-out rules anymore, Zach.
We needed a catchy name.
We needed a catchy name, and that's the best we got. So we've got both teams splitting the first two sets as we get ready to start.
Set number 3.
Set number 3.
So while they're getting set, we could talk a little bit about the history of these two teams. Going back to the last 10 games, St. Pius has a commanding 8 wins to Jefferson's 2. However, last year, Jefferson defeated St. Pius in this conference game, and then you have to go all the way back to 2018 when Jefferson knocked out St. Pius in the district tournament. Other than that, it's been St. Pius, as Jefferson will take over serve. Rubel over to Ratterman, and the lower official will say that that is 4 hits for the Lancers. Jefferson will have the first point of this third set. Lloyd over to Frazier.
And looks like we got in the net.
3 hit, yep, in the net. So, this is me, where my brain goes. It's a wonder there's not more ankles that are sprained, because they're playing so close to the net. They're jumping up and down as Mikowski hits it over to the Blue Jays. Siebert, again with another heady play, just takes a peek and sees nobody's right in the middle and says, thank you, I'll take it again.
Yeah, the Lancers are not doing a good job of making sure that they're protecting the blockers at the net.
So right out of the gate, Jefferson with a 3-0 start as Lloyd's going to take another serve. Ratterman says, I'm going to stop the momentum right here, right now. Not so fast.
Nice play right there to pick up the point.
So if you're both coaches, Chris, what are you trying to say? It's tied up 1 set to 1 set. Both teams, I think, have done some really good things. Both teams have done a couple blunders here and there. What are you telling them?
Well, right now, you just gotta go to what you're taught and trust that your kids are coached up the way they need to be. And if you make a mistake, just learn from it and make the adjustments. What a great spike right there by Roth. Well, I'll tell you what, Woo Pig Suey's going to be pretty excited getting her in the house. And I don't even like Arkansas, but I'll tell you what, I'll root for that kid.
As number 22, senior Paige Siebert with the serve. Still uncommitted, or undecided, I should say, if she's going to be playing volleyball. Talking to Coach Fish, having the opportunity to. Her and Avery Richardson both most likely going to have an opportunity as Jefferson's going to hit the ball out of bounds. Just haven't made that full-time commitment yet if they're going to stick with volleyball or maybe just in their career this year.
Yeah, and sometimes even great players in all sports, they decide they don't want to go to the grind in the college game. It's a different animal.
It is. It's a full-time job as Frazier's going to have a nice knuckle serve there, saved by Roth. Lloyd kicks it over. Rubel with a nice pass over to Lethbridge. Lethbridge, that's something that we didn't see in that first game, really just getting that timing down, and you see that slam there, that kill from the sophomore All-Stater.
It comes with being able to make a good pass to the setter, so the setter can make that good pass to whichever attacker that she needs to make it to. If you don't dig the ball out well and make a good pass, then you get some bad spikes.
Frazier with the serve. Siebert over now to Breyer. Oh, it looked like she was going to hit with her left hand. Switch back over to her right. Lethbridge gets her shot blocked here again. She says, "This second time, I got you." As the score is tied up 4-4.
Yeah, I'd say that maybe Mom had a little pep talk for her daughter at the break there, but no, she's a gamer. She definitely is.
So St. Pius getting a little momentum here, something that they hadn't had really since the first set. As Frazier with a little drop serve, Siebert going back to McPeters. She's going to flub it off of her hand. It's going to go out of bounds. Looked like she was going to try and hit it across court. Instead, just right off of her knuckles, out of bounds to the left side.
Yeah, kind of an unfortunate break right there.
So St. Pius taking their first lead of this third set, 5-4.
First lead in a long time.
Frazier with the serve. It's going to be out.
Give it back.
And just like that, giving that momentum right back to the Blue Jays.
That's the thing about rally scoring. We used to be that big a side-out play.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, I've seen some long volleyball games because of side-out.
Well, and you think now the state going to 5 sets, you're probably seeing some longer games. As Lethbridge just couldn't quite get it over the net from that pass, and Jefferson will take over the lead again, 6-5.
Talked to several coaches who coach volleyball. None of them like 5 sets.
Really?
Nope.
Why is that?
Well, if you're going to talk about the kids being student athletes, then why do you want to keep them there longer? And the argument is about getting recruiting, getting the looks and things like that. At the end of the day, the colleges know what they're getting. They don't need an extra set and a half to see it.
So Lowry gets another ace back to the point to make it 7-5. Roth hits it across, saved over by Lane. Siebert with the pass over to McPeters. Lane with a nice layout there to save it. Frazier with the pass over to Lethbridge. Now Roth, she's going to get the spike, and it's going to be blocked out of bounds. And so, Chris, we finally see another rally here. What do you see there?
Well, I mean, again, both teams trying to step up and make plays. And, defense is going to win. Defense is going to win. Being able to dig the ball.
So St. Pius getting the point off another service error by R-7. They did make a switch. So Emma Frazier and Carly Lane have switched, not numbers, but their jerseys. And now Emma Frazier is going to come in as the libero for the Lancers, and Carly Lane's just going to be a regular rotation player. Rubel with the serve. It's going to be an ace for the freshman. Lowry unable to make that dig and pass over to setter Siebert.
Yeah, and you were saying it earlier about defense. It's almost like playing defensive ping pong. It's let somebody else make the mistake.
Exactly.
Let somebody else make the mistake.
Exactly. And you see a lot of that more as we have yet another mistake. The Lancers with another service error. And that's got to be something that I would assume, not knowing anything about volleyball, but both Coach Fish and Coach Lethbridge is probably going to address after this game, is that, looking at some of the statistics, their service percentages were in the high 80s, if not 90s. And now, we've seen probably double-digit service errors as Lethbridge gets another kill right at us. And you just see the athleticism, not only on the jump, but also on the spike.
She got up there. And she's not like Ratterman, who's 6'3", and she's a taller girl, but I'll tell you what, you're right, athleticism for sure.
So Lethbridge listed on the program at 5'10", maybe trying to get an inch on us. I don't know.
She played like she was 7 foot tall right there. Man, she see if she steps up right here. Big plays right now.
As the score is tied 9-9, McPeters just gets it over. Leffridge saves it. Frazier gets the pass over to nobody. Leffridge is going to have to knock it over to the other side. Siebert passes to Lloyd. Couldn't tell if that was just blocked in the net or if Birch blocked it. Either case, St. Pius is going to take the point, and they lead 10-9.
Yeah, I believe that one was hit into the net. Might call it a block because otherwise it would have been 4 hits.
Leffridge with the serve, Siebert with the pass, going right to the middle. Roth, she pinballs it off of Birch and Mikowski, and it's going to fall to the floor, and R7's going to tie this ball game up 10-10.
You got 3 girls going to the net right there, so you got to make sure your back row is backing up the blockers.
You know, Mikowski, she's 6'1". Birch, she's listed at 5'11". Ratterman is 6'3". As Mikowski's going to get a kill herself there. As Ratterman looks to check in. I mean, we talked about this height that St. Pius has, and they're getting blocks, they're getting stuffs. It's just a matter of the power that R7 has with Roth and Breyer and Lloyd. The power of their spikes are just going through the height and the arms of these Lancers, as we have yet another service error by St. Pius, which ties this ball game up 11-11.
Yeah, and again, it's the seniors who have the experience and know how to play really good defense. I mean, they're digging a lot of these kills out.
Roth with a nice serve there. Lloyd picks up the point, and Jefferson's going to take their lead 12-11.
And this is kind of the game that we anticipated all the sets being. Take away the second set.
And really, St. Pius, I mean, they battled back to within 7. I mean, they were doubled up several times in that game as Rubel knocks it over across. Siebert with the pass going to Lloyd. It's going to be stuffed home on the kill by Lloyd. Rubel with the pass over to Birch. Going to be blocked right at the net. And St. Pius started the game again on a 3-0 run. Now they have another 3-point advantage, 14-11.
Yeah, and R7 scored the last 5 points in a row, and that's why Coach Leffridge has seen enough, and she needs to have a discussion about some of the stuff that she sees out there. And you know, that's just the kind of thing. We've had a couple of unforced errors right here that made it tough, and you know, that's puts your team in a really bad spot.
Mm-hmm. So coming out of this timeout, I mean, momentum is important, right?
It's not important at all.
Well, in this game it is. And right now, I'm not seeing enough from St. Pius of creating their own sustained momentum. They'll get a point or two here or there, but I'm not seeing it sustained enough. And now, if that's partly due, whether to their service errors or partly due to Jefferson in their play, but if St. Pius wants to tie this ball game up and try and win this set, they're gonna have to do some of this stuff on their own.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both, though.
Roth with the jump serve. Yep. Ratterman gets her shot blocked. Leffridge from the back row spike. Siebert tries that one more time right in the middle. Picked up. Mikowski gets the spike. Ratterman says, I'll do you one better. And picks up the point there for St. Pius. And St. Pius out of the timeout. It's exactly what they needed.
That was a bad pass right there that turned into a nice set for Ratterman.
So Birch, the lone senior for the Lancers, up to serve. Birch, she's going to do volleyball and track and field at the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy. That's a new name for the college that pretty much everybody knows as STL Cop, as we have Mikowski with a nice block. Dug up by Leffridge in the back row. Mikowski thought about it for a split second of spiking it. I think maybe it might have been off balance a little bit, then decided to push it a little bit too far out of bounds, and Jefferson with the point goes back up 3, 15-12.
I think she was just overthinking that right there.
And I think, there's something to be said as Ratterman gets her spike attempt blocked. There's something to be said about overthinking.
Absolutely. Let what your body that's been trained to do and the muscle memory just do its thing. Sometimes your head gets in the way.
Well, you talked about making the other team make mistakes. If you're good at one thing, do it and do it over and over and over, and chances are you can play the odds or the percentages, and it's probably going to be in your favor.
Just like that play right there.
It's going to go out of bounds, and both officials unsure of who the point. Okay, so now they get that cleared up. That's going to be a St. Pius point. Carly Lane with the ace ties this ball game up 15-15. Nice service ace there from the junior.
Yeah, she did a good job right there as far as putting that right where she wanted, especially when that thing tails off to the line.
So this team, the teams that we're going against right now, kind of reminds me, as R-7's going to pick up another point, you go back to other Jefferson and St. Pius type teams to a couple years ago on the baseball diamond, back when R-7 had the likes of Colby Ott, and they wind up winning the district in baseball, and people saying that was their senior heavy team led by the Jefferson College baseball player. And then the year after that, as we have a point for the Lancers,
2 hits
when
right
it was
there.
when it was St. Pius last year having 7 seniors on their baseball team and them defeating R-7 and winning a district title. You kind of see the same thing playing out on the volleyball court as these R-7 Blue Jays are senior laden, and another ace for the Lancers.
Yeah,
Carly Lane gets some momentum.
I believe it was Ava Frazier. Yep, she was the one who was serving, and the junior right there making a nice play. I mean, that's what they need. 17-16. Change the scoreboard here.
Siebert
watching.
It's fun. This is why we want to do this game, to see 2 state-ranked teams. Just imagine if there wasn't a championship factor and both of these teams would be in the same district. How crazy would that, to go win a district title, and probably whoever wins that's probably going to the Final Four. As we have a little drop serve by Frazier. Now St. Pius has a little momentum on their side with a 3-point lead as R-7, and Coach Fish says, that's enough here. We're going to take a timeout.
Well, and talk about Coach Fish. I mean, look what she's done. I mean, 5th year as a head coach. Overall coaching record 121, 34, and 2. That's a pretty good record too.
Yes.
I mean, on top of that, she used to be an assistant coach for the program before she was a head coach. Last year, as we've said before, Class 2 state 3rd place finish, and she was the small school conference coach of the year the last 2 years. And I'll tell you what, she's gotten the most out of this senior group. They are really good. They are fun to watch.
Being involved a little bit with R-7 over the years, getting to hear this senior group, everybody knew this was coming, talking to some of the assistant coaches in different programs. I believe something, and I could be wrong, but this senior group, I don't think, lost a game 7th grade or 8th grade, and they knew this was going to be something special. 4 all-state returners, 3 college commits, as now we have Roth with a spike of her own, the Arkansas commit, played over by Leffridge, back across the net. Siebert with the pass going to McPeters. That's going to be stuffed. Looked to be stuffed by Leffridge. Sophie Machad also looked to be there as well. That's that height coming into play there, Chris.
That height comes into play.
So that's another. We talk about Sophie Machad. Haven't said her name that much, but she's a 5'11 junior as well.
Yeah, she's been rotated out, especially with the way the rotations fall, and we're trying to keep her on the front line instead of her being someone who serves.
As that's going to be out. Not exactly what you were hoping for as you got to that 20 mark.
But it was a good run by the Lancers, though, putting together about 5 or so points.
So Lowry with the serve. We've seen her constantly all night just grazing that net. She's going to get it right over that time. Rubel with the pass over to Lethbridge. Lowry with it. It's going to bounce around and dink around. It's going to be played and saved by R-7. Roth with it again, just right across the net. Rubel back to Lethbridge. Blocked. And R-7's going to get the point. Nice stuff there by the Blue Jays.
Yeah, that was a tough play right there. He wasn't quite sure where that ball was coming down at from the rafters. Again, tough place to play.
Would you talk about senior composure right there?
Just wait for it, wait for it.
Rubel with the pass over to Lethbridge. Dinks it right over across. Lowry's going to get the pass over to Roth. She's just going to have to knock it right back over. Rubel with the pass outside to the right side. Lethbridge stuffed again by Emma Breyer, the Pitt State commit.
Rubel's got to do a better job of moving that ball. She's going right to Lethbridge every time. I mean, hey, that's your best player, but at the same time, the Blue Jays are sitting on that.
Well, they're set. Breyer's on that side as R-7's going to have yet another serve error. I wish I would have kept track of that all game, because you talk about momentum killers. This happened for both teams, as now the Lancers have a 21-19 lead late in the third set.
Speaking of Rubel, here she is, the freshman.
Siebert with the pass going over to Roth. This is going to be blocked by Birch and just out of bounds.
Wow.
Nice block there by Birch, and you're exactly right. What a tough break by the Lancers. Doing an excellent job of getting up, getting that block. And that's just how, the way the ball bounces sometimes.
That's just all that power behind that spike.
Mm-hmm. Another power behind that spike's Lethbridge. Lowry to Roth. Frazier able to dig it up. Rubel going over to Lethbridge. Saved by Roth. Lowry tried to get it to McPeters. McPeters couldn't get it over on her third shot, and St. Pius will take the 22-20 lead.
That was a big
Chris,
point
we might
right
have,
there.
yes, we might have potentially, depending on how things go, our first, I don't know what it's called, overtime, extra.
No, it'll just be fifth set.
Okay, no, I'm in this set, because you got to win by 2. As Mikowski's going to go ahead and get the stuff. I like her at that middle position, Chris. She does an excellent job there.
Yeah, because then all you got to do is just hit it straight down.
Exactly, and you talk about the 6'1" sophomore being able to get up. She certainly does.
If you think about the last four sets, or from the on the second hit, has been all Lethbridge until the last one. And that last one, you can see they were all set up for Lethbridge. Goes right to Mikowski, and she puts the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, Breyer's been able to kind of be on that same side as Lethbridge. And Breyer, I mean, she's listed. Well, she's not listed, but she's up there as well. She's probably 5'11", 6 foot. And so she's able to combat the athleticism power that Lethbridge has with her own height. But you're right, going to Mikowski at the middle, she's able to stuff it home there.
Yeah, and then that gives you more options. And that, again, I think that's what they got to do, is they got to kind of mix it up and send multiple attackers and little misdirection.
A little misdirection, right?
Run a little annexation of Puerto Rico on them or something, you know?
Well, speaking of, I mean, it's homecoming week here at St. Pius. St. Pius going to be taking on state-ranked St. Vincent this Friday.
You going to be there?
I think we are going to be there.
We are going to be there.
As we get a stuff there by Mikowski. Big play going up 4. That's going to be set point for the Lancers, and you can start to hear it from the Lancer faithful. They sense it. One more point away to take a 2-1 lead. That ever-crucial third set, as Lethbridge going to get the serve. Siebert over, looking to Lloyd. And instead, that's going to be... Ann Mikowski tried to block it, just went off her hand straight down, and R-7 able to stop that momentum.
That was a big play right there.
Big play as McPeters is going to go ahead, and she's going to serve. Another fellow senior for the Blue Jays over to Frazier. Rubel with the pass to Mikowski right in the middle. She gets it stuffed. She gets it stuffed by, I think that was Lloyd. And just like that, Chris, we have a 2-point game right here at, again, set point.
Yep. Jefferson has to be flawless right here until they can get it to where they have to win by 2.
Handled by Lethbridge. Rubel with the pass over to Birch. Birch hits it over. Lloyd tries to hit back row to Leffridge. Rubel with the pass over to Mashad. Mashad over. McPeters gets it. Siebert over to Roth. Nice dig there by Leffridge. Now we get a good volley. Birch over to Lowry. Siebert right over to Lloyd. Rubel gets it over to Frazier. Passes it to Birch. Birch gets it blocked by Lloyd. Rubel gets it again over to Birch. And finally, after an excellent rally, Chris Miller. St. Pius Lancers takes the third set, 25-22. You are at Ralph Boyer Gymnasium. St. Pius with a 2-1 set lead going into set number 4, which could be, if Jefferson R-7 doesn't make some adjustments, could potentially be the final set of the evening. So Chris, we'll go ahead and take a short timeout break. You are watching Between the Lines, Side Out Volleyball Edition, brought to you by Off the Rails Media.
Hi, I'm Fran Tarkenton, Hall of Fame quarterback and founder of Tarkenton Financial. And this is my good friend and partner, Brian Waits, founder of Waits Financial Services.
Thanks, Fran. At Waits Financial Services, we believe in educating our clients, providing courteous service, and helping every person we work with create a winning game plan for their retirement.
Retirement is a lot like football. You need a solid game plan and great teammates in order to achieve success. That's why I started Tarkenton Financial, to help educate people about their choices and connect them with advisors I trust. And Brian is one of my trusted partners.
I'm here to help you meet your financial goals, minimize your tax burden, and ensure that you have income guaranteed for life. Let's get to work on your retirement game plan.
Call Brian Waits at Waits Financial Services today. You'll be glad you did.
I'm a tailgater tailgating to get to my tailgate. Now, it might not get me there any faster, but hey, it gets me ready for football. Let's tailgate.
I can't go anywhere.
But you're so busy watching me tailgate that you don't see the one in front of you. And your cut rate car insurance, it might not pay for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
I have a question about my listing price.
Updating listing to Lizard Heights.
No, listing price.
Wizard Kites.
Can I talk to a real human agent, please?
Welcome back to the start of the fourth set here at Ralph Boyer Gymnasium. This place is absolutely rocking tonight. We've got a clash of heavyweights, and I'm telling you what, Zach, it's lived up to it.
It is. I mean, the number 2 ranked team in Class 2 at Jefferson, the number 5 ranked team in Class 4 with St. Pius. Couldn't have been a better ball game to be a part of. I hope we're doing a good enough job for all of the viewers. We try and do this, something special for the kids. It's free, whether it's volleyball, whether we're going to broadcast a football game this week. St. Pius is going to be hosting St. Vincent for homecoming night as the players are getting ready. Right now, it looks like there's a spillage of water or something on the floor. Could be sweat.
Spilling water.
I'm going to say, as action-packed, could be sweat. I don't know if that might just be us. You talk about first time calling a volleyball game. Boy, do we pick a doozy, huh?
Yeah, we did.
So St. Pius going to take the serve. That's going to be Birch. Breyer with the spike. Nice dig by Leffridge. Ratterman gets a spike of her own. Siebert with the save. Breyer out back to the deep corner. Rubel with the pass over to Mikowski. And all of that action for the first point of the fourth set. St. Pius comes away.
I'm going to say that that's probably a prelude to what we're going to be seeing.
I mean, right now it's do or die for Jefferson. And if you're St. Pius, you're thinking, the senior heavy team, we've got to put it away. This has got to be the set for St. Pius. as we have a stuff there by sophomore Ann Mikowski.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're St. Pius, you're probably also thinking, thanks, Misha, we'd have this thing done and be going to the house.
Well, it's only 8 o'clock. But yes, I 100% agree with you. As Breyer hits it over.
Kids got homework
Kids got homework as Ratterman hits it right across. Siebert almost hits it in that short right corner. Ratterman saves it across. A little confusion there on the Blue Jays side, but pass over to Breyer. Nice spike, but blocked by Mikowski. Saved by Siebert. Lloyd with a nice spike over across the set, over to Ratterman. Dinks it over. Siebert gets the pass over to Roth. Roth hits it out of bounds.
And again,
St. Pius gets the point.
Oh, rally. What a rally. I mean, both teams are refusing to give in, and I love it.
St. Pius taking the early 3-0 lead, just as similar as they had last game. Siebert gets the pass over to Breyer. Hits it over. Birch saves it. Pass over to Mikowski. Gets a nice stuff. Breyer plays it off the ceiling. Siebert just knocks it over. Rubel going to Ratterman. That's going to be tipped.
But it goes in. So point Lancers.
Point Lancers. And now you got to be thinking, if you're Coach Fish, at what point are you going to be calling timeout? Because you have to stop momentum.
Yeah, I would say that if they don't get this point here, there's a timeout coming.
So Birch with a knuckle serve. Lloyd tips it off of the net. Birch just couldn't handle it. That got a little deflection there, and Lloyd able to calm the waters for Jefferson.
We've seen that net play a big factor tonight for the Blue Jays.
They might have to make sure that net's sturdy for the rest of the year.
Coach Lethbridge might be tightening the net up a little bit tighter next time.
Siebert with another unforced error, and you can see some of the fans, Jefferson fans, not liking the continued unforced errors.
Yeah, and I think that's for both teams. We've seen an inordinate amount of those tonight.
I bet it's double digits.
Teams.
Carla Lane back to serve for the Lancers. Has a little wicked spin there. Siebert's going to set it over to Roth. Roth with a big kill. Emma Frazier has to roll back on her feet. Siebert now gets a pass to McPeters. That's going to be stuffed by Ratterman over to Breyer. That's going to be Rubel, does an excellent job of saving it.
Hits the pole.
Okay, so what's the rule on that, Chris?
Out of bounds.
That's going to be out of bounds. And so now R-7 down 5. There's your timeout.
5 points.
So Coach Fish electing to call a timeout early, as you can hear the Lancer faithful with the talk it over chant. And so my question is, are you going to – you call the timeout, obviously, but how much of it is saying, hey, we're a senior-laden team, let's let them figure it out a little bit?
I mean, sometimes, they're young kids. It doesn't matter how much, if they're seniors or whatever, they're still going to need that, hey, we just play our game, calm them down.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to hear that. It doesn't matter how good of a player you are. Heck, college and professional athletes have to hear the same thing.
Right. So out of the timeout, we'll see what happens here as St. Pius Jr. Carly Lane looks to serve. Freshman Rubel hyping up her teammates. Siebert gets the pass right to the middle. Lloyd with a little fake. That was kind of neat little play there. Play designed by Coach Fish coming out of the timeout. Back row attack by Kirsten Lloyd, faked by Breyer. I think it faked out the Lancers, and Lloyd just put her right down at that back line just inside. As we have another service error by Jefferson, Grace Lowry. We said the first few games she was really doing an excellent job of using that net. The last few serves hasn't been a little long, I believe, a couple times here as we pick up more service errors as we have the rotation now. Emma Frazier for the Lancers, the libero.
Yeah, she was using that net to her advantage. Now she's almost staying away from it, and maybe she should go back to it. It worked.
Siebert with the pass over to Breyer. Breyer just a little dink and dunk, getting it over. Lethbridge with a nice spike. Now, I thought it looked tipped.
Looked like it was tipped.
So that's exactly what the top official's going to say. From our vantage point, originally looked like maybe they thought it was going to be R-7's point. Instead, it's going to go over to the Lancers. The Lancers with an 8-2 lead early on here in set number 4.
Frazier getting ready to serve, and she's standing almost all the way out of bounds of the basketball court.
Siebert with the pass over to Roth. Man, you talk about a play right there. Roth just getting everything behind that spike, block, tipped by the Lancers, and then it just falls to the floor. Chris, that was an explosion there of athleticism and power.
I think Roth for Jefferson and Lethbridge for St. Pius, I mean, you talk about just some explosive spikes like that.
Well, like that, and you have the All-Stater sophomore Hannah Lethbridge with her own power there. Says, not so fast. What you could do, I can do better.
Yeah, it almost furthers what I was just saying. Thank you, ladies, for making me sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Well, you talk about how you get that power. Let's get in the weight room, and we know both programs, both schools put an emphasis on weight training, as St. Pius couldn't couldn't save it here, and Jefferson going to pick up the point, 9-4. I mean, both schools. We know with Coach Tilden Watson, the athletic director here at St. Pius, and you go back to now Principal Coach Alex Rugley for Jefferson, really putting an emphasis in that weight room for both boys and girls sports programs.
It showed a difference between both schools and what their programs have been able to do in all sports.
And continually, as we have a huge spike there by Lethbridge, picked up by Lowry. Now we have another good volley going on. Rally. Birch is going to get it stuffed by Roth. And a little momentum builder, Ava Roth, the Arkansas commit, saying, hey, get on my back, guys. I'm going to carry you for a little bit.
Yeah, I think Birch kind of went off she wasn't exactly balanced when she went to try to spike that one.
So McPeter's going to serve for the Blue Jays. Lethbridge with a nice kill there. Right to left.
Goodness. I mean, the whole Jefferson team was over on that side where she was, and she put it where they ain't. And I mean,
that's got to be a skill to be able to do that and say, hey, you know what? I can control in the air where I want to hit it, to the left side, to the right side, or maybe just down your face. As Lethbridge now going to get the serve. Lowry picks it up. Siebert over to Roth. Going to be stuffed by Mikowski and Birch. And with that, the St. Pius Lancers are going to go up more than double digits. Doubling up against the Blue Jays, 11-5.
You know, and that's the thing, too. I mean, they're doing this without Ratterman in there. That just shows you how deep they are.
Lloyd hits it long, and you're starting to get a little worried if you're the R7 fans. Kind of quiet in this Ralph Boyer Gymnasium on our side, as you see the Lancers on the far side of the gym, the kids coming out and turning out for homecoming week.
And they've been standing the whole time.
They have. Excited about what they're watching as Lloyd gets a hit, saved by Frazier. Birch!
What a spike.
Puts it home.
Senior.
The lone senior on this Class 4 District 1 5th-ranked team, St. Pius Lancers.
That just shows you there's something in the cupboard here.
Yes, it is. And there's something in the cupboard also for Jefferson. We were watching a little bit of this ball game. You're going to have all these seniors graduate here coming up in the coming months. But R7, cupboard's not bare either, because we saw them take St. Pius to task in that JV game.
Yeah, but you know, and all credit to Jefferson for that, but we are talking about how many
all of them but one.
Younger kids.
Yes, all of them but one.
Varsity.
Yep. Leverage with the jump serve now, picked up by Breyer. Over to Lloyd. Lloyd is going to come up long. I didn't know from my vantage point if it was tipped at all.
It was not tipped.
So they're going to say that it's St. Pius point, and just like that, Chris, St. Pius opening up the floodgates with a 15-5 lead, as R7 will take a timeout. And so now you're thinking you got to lean on this senior experience. I'm curious to see how this R7 team, Blue Jay team, is going to come out of this timeout, because you can see some long faces over there from these seniors, knowing that this is going to be the last time that they are playing their rival, a team that they beat last year, that they want nothing more than to beat this year. And right now, it is not looking very good.
Yeah, they're the defending conference champions, and I know from talking to some of the girls and Coach Lethbridge that this is a game they circled as well, because they felt like there's a little payback that they wanted to get, you know, and take back the conference title.
Right.
And there's still conference games left for both teams, but when you're as good as both these programs are, you're in the driver's seat.
Well, this is something that you have conversations when you build programs, and you say, listen, you have to put in the time and the work because you don't know who else is putting in the time and the work, and then you don't know who's coming up behind you.
Right.
Because you got to think this R7 team, as they're going to pick up a point here, 15-6, they probably thought, you know what, we've been dominant in junior high. We went to the Final Four last year. This is going to be our year to win. Who knows how many? I don't know how many games it's on their schedule. And right now, they're like, wait a second, we're a team of seniors losing to a team that only has one senior. We did not see this coming.
Yeah, but talking to Coach Fish, these two schools and these players are very close as far as knowing, either playing club ball with each other, and as she was talking about, that whenever they made their run, there was girls from St. Pius that were going to the district game and watching them and rooting them on, and vice versa whenever it was Pius's turn.
Now, you talk about that. I'm going to say this for St. Pius, for having such a young team, as we get a nice dig there by a freshman, Rubel, you don't see the looks on their face of nerves. You don't see the scared, being timid by such a young group. I mean, as R7 picks up this point to make it 16-7, you see a business-like attitude, and that's something that getting a chance to watch them this year and having several of these students in class, they have excellent team chemistry as R7 does, but they aren't rattled as R7 picks up an ace, and now the score's doubled up 16-8.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's just the way that they're coached up, it's the way they play and how they prepare themselves, not only physically but mentally.
So R7 not going to go away here as Frazier almost unable to pick up the serve.
Got a whistle.
I have no clue what just happened. But they're going to call.
I think there was an extra hit in there.
I can say they're going to call an infraction on the Blue Jays.
I think they're called infractions, but that's okay.
Well,
you've never called volleyball before, neither have I.
Any of our viewers, if you want to comment on it, feel free to help us out.
And tell us what we don't know.
Which is quite a bit. As Emma Breyer, the senior Pitt State commit, says, I'm going to put an exclamation on that right there, make it 17-9. And now, you talk about for a young team, is this the time in the game? Do you get a little unfocused? Do you say we have such a big cushion and maybe you let R7 back into this contest?
Yeah, complacency is a killer right now. You can't get complacent because you have a lead. This team is not going to go away.
Siebert with the pass over to Breyer. Breyer with the little dunk that's going to go out of bounds. St. Pius going to double up. Jefferson again, 18-9, as the fans for R7 checking their phones, thinking to themselves, man, it's just a matter of time right now. Maybe thinking about what to get for a late dinner. As Lloyd,
there's still some volleyball to play.
There is, as Lane gets the serve. Lloyd from the back row attack. Rubel gets the pass to Ratterman. Ratterman gets the point. Now, Chris, it looked to me that she was in the net as the net's moving, but from our vantage point, maybe she wasn't. What did you see?
Well, right now, I believe we got a couple of R7 players that were saying that she was in the net. Could have went either way. I mean, she didn't have a good hit on the ball. The ball could have made the net move, but I think she got away with one.
Sieber with the pass over to Breyer, stuffed back by Ratterman. Frazier going to pick it up over to Rubel. Ratterman with the left-hand save. Siebert going out to the corner to Breyer. Saved over by Lane. Frazier passing it over to Leffridge. Leffridge gets his stuff by Richardson. Back over to Breyer. Leffridge with the dig. Rubel over to Leffridge. Ava Roth with a nice dig. We get another rally going here. Lloyd hits it in the net. Nice little volley there.
Yeah, Lloyd still seemingly a little frustrated for the last point.
I don't blame her.
But you got to shake it off and keep playing, because right now every mistake's a point.
So right now St. Pius with yet another unforced error on the serve, making it 20-10. And Chris, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know a lot about volleyball, But I would expect for both teams to go far into a playoff situation. This has got to be, for Coach Fish and for Coach Leffridge, an area of concern. Now, maybe it's nerves, maybe it's the fact that it's two rival teams, but I mean, you're talking, almost their 30th game as the Lancers picks up a nice kill shot there, and for the Lancers, almost their 20th game. You would think that you ought to be making serves.
Yeah, and you can't have those, and I'm sure that's going to be a coaching point next time at practice or at film study, is just saying, hey, we got to cut these down. Can't give away points.
So all but done here as St. Pius has a 21-10 lead. Frazier almost picks up the ace as we have number 3 for Jefferson. That's Bella Price, the junior, first time that she's checked into this ball game.
You can kind of see the faces of the Blue Jay players right now. As you said a while ago, a little long in the face.
Mm-hmm. Frazier with the serve. Lloyd with a back row attack. Mashad gets the pass over to Leffridge.
Dings that one over.
Yep, Siebert to McPeters. It's going to be stuffed by Mashad, but the shot's going to go out of bounds. And R-7 picks up the point, making it 22-11. And Chris, I know it's not over yet. It kind of has that vibe. The air in the gym seems to be kind of deflating right now. You figure the St. Pius Lancer fans would be up in arms cheering, but I think we haven't been disappointed, as R-7 with another point, making it 22-12.
Well, I mean, it's been a fun game no matter what, but I mean, you don't want to start getting, or you don't want to celebrate too soon. Right now, there's still some volleyball to play.
Exactly. Leffridge gets her spike attempt block, and R-7, Chris, you're saying 4 unanswered points there,
so.
22-13. The senior heavy group here, number 2 ranked Class 2 Jefferson Blue Jays, saying we're not going away just yet, as Breyer gets the serve over Leffridge right off of Lowry.
Off of a light.
Ava Roth hits it over. Hits it after Frazier saves the first one. And right now you got to think, if you're Coach Leffridge, how much longer do you let it go when it's 5 points in a row?
I call timeout and score again.
I think I'd call a timeout as well. Get St. Pius back at it here as Leffridge says, we don't need a timeout. One Leffridge to the other. Leffridge says, it's okay, Coach / Mom.
We don't need a timeout.
We'll talk about that on the drive home. How about that?
Great play by the All-Stater right there.
So as the score ramps up 23-14, freshman Rubel back to serve for the Lancers. Jump serve. She's going to hit it out of bounds. Not what you needed if you were St. Pius.
No.
And this is what you talk about, the inexperience. Now it's 23-15. Given life, you let teams that are experienced and have done this before, you let them linger, let them lay around. Next thing you know, it's a ball game.
Yeah,
Stopped by number 15, Kirsten Lloyd, and just like that, Chris Miller, it's a 23-16 ball game.
I can't. I want to sit over here and say I told you so.
You can say it. It's fine.
Okay, I told you so. There's a lot of volleyball still left to play. I'm not going to go quietly into the night.
Nope. As Leffridge looks to hit that corner. Lowry gets hit in the face by Lloyd. Teammate collision there. As Birch, the senior, the lone senior, celebrating her senior night, picks up the kill. And now it is game, set, and match point. If that's the thing. I know it is in tennis.
I think so.
We'll call it match point here for St. Pius at their home Ralph Boyer Gymnasium. Siebert over to Roth, picked up by Frazier. Rubel gets the pass to Leffridge, and that's going to do it! And we have our winner. St. Pius X High School picks up the conference victory. They will go to 18-2 on the season, going to a 4-0 perfect record. They will have one more conference game left to play And if they win, they will be the JCAA small school champions. Jefferson Blue Jays going 22-5-1 on the year. Their record going to 2-1. And Chris, what do you think?
Oh, I think this is the game definitely, it lived up to what it was billed as. I mean, this is a clash of powerhouses, and it was just a lot of fun to watch both teams. If I had to pick one thing, and I think everybody would be, feeling the same way on the coach's side, is just cleaning up those unforced errors and taking care of the ball and possessions.
I mean, it did not disappoint. We can go through and kind of do a little recap here of this JCC Clash of the Titans battle, visiting Jefferson R-7 Blue Jays, hosted by the St. Pius Lancers. The first set going to St. Pius, 25-22. Jefferson coming back in the second set, 25-18. St. Pius picking up the third set, 25-22. And then the Lancers with the decisive fourth set winner, 25-16. And Chris, all-state players galore, collegiate players galore. Jefferson R-7 probably has the easier route to get into the postseason, because St. Pius is going to have Farmington in their district. That's going to be Class 4 District 1, hosted at Farmington. So they're going to have a long road to hoe here, as they have a few more ball games before they enter in postseason play. Jefferson, they're going to be hosting their district. That's going to be Class 2 District 3. And so if you're Coach Tara Fish and Jefferson, you've got to regroup for your next contest. And if you're St. Pius and Coach Shannon Leffridge, you get to celebrate on senior night, on homecoming week, something that you didn't get to do last year. But for the lone senior, Hannah Birch, what a sweet taste of victory as she finishes her senior night.
Yeah, and it's a special thing whenever you're a senior and you're playing your conference rival. And right now, I mean, they're in the Lancers are in a position for the conference championship, no doubt, and that's just one of those little goals that you have to try to knock off during the year when you're a team. You want to win the tournaments you're in, or go 2-1 at best. You want to win the conference championship, and then you want to start moving into thinking about the state playoffs. And this was just one step for the Lancers. If you think about the teams that they play a lot, and both schools do. They credit to the scheduling. Play a lot of great competition. It's only going to make you better when you have great players like that. And the Lancers have lost to Farmington, and they've also split with them in a tournament. They lost to Eureka last weekend, and Eureka, I don't know if anybody knows this, is like the number one team in Class 5. They've had some fantastic talent come through there, college recruited talent. Even an SEC player, I think, that plays at Auburn right now, that's played at Eureka. So they're a legit program themselves, with only one loss on the year, and those games were competitive. With what Coach Leffridge said. So, I think that this is kind of one of those things where St. Pius is in a good position based on who they play, the scheduling that they have to do some damage, maybe in the state playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, both of these teams, you're going to enjoy the win if you're St. Pius. You're going to regroup if you're Jefferson. And now that you have this rivalry game over with, we won't say that the conference is all but locked, but with St. Pius having a 4-0 lead, I don't know who they have coming up. I believe it's either St. Vincent or Grandview. I could be wrong, or maybe it's Crystal City. It's one of those schools.
It's Crystal City.
Crystal City. Now, Crystal City having a great season of their own. I think there's an Eisenbeiss or Hankins that's a pretty good player for the Hornets over there, and Crystal City. But St. Pius, they've got to wrap up conference, and then after that, their mindset is going to shift, because they're going to have to go back to playing bigger schools.
Yeah.
And so they kind of get a little break, a little reprieve, although tonight being a number 2 ranked team in Class 2 is anything but a reprieve. But I do think you saw, like you said, the fact that they're playing Class 4, Class 5 teams and winning, it just set them up for success. What I'm impressed about with the Lancers is the fact that there's only one senior on this team, and you've got underclassmen, not just juniors, but sophomores and freshmen that are making such a big impact for this St. Pius Lancer team. And for Jefferson, you know, all of those seniors after tonight, they're probably going to have a practice where they say, we need to regroup and listen. Our eyes on the prize of getting back to SEMO, getting back to that state title.
Yeah, and that's what's and both teams. I mean, at the end of the day, that they all feel like they're going to be their focus now is going to start shifting towards the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So the St. Pius alumni volleyball game is about to start. We will not be broadcasting that.
No.
Although there will be some really good. That's probably going to be some good competition.
I was going to say, you talk about collegiate players.
All the kids off the wall are going to be coming here and playing. So, Zach, it's been fun, man. First volleyball game.
I hope everybody that watched it live or maybe picks it back up here, because you can pick it up again for free on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page. You know, Off the Rails Media. We have all kinds of different shows, broadcasts. We just enjoyed it, and we just thought, you know what, if it came down to it and this was going to have an opportunity to be the JCAA Small School Conference Championship game like we thought it would, then we need to broadcast this.
Absolutely. And as you said before, you can watch for free later on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that if you would. It helps us out. And you can watch it on the Streamline Sports app, which is in partnership with the Maritime Sports. So we love what they do. You can watch that on demand as well. And if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, so if you have nothing going on tomorrow night, make sure that you tune in to the Coach's Box. We'll be live on Facebook, YouTube, Streamline Sports app. You can watch, and by the way, on Streamline, you can watch it on Roku, Fire TV, and you can get it on Apple and Google Play. So make sure you do that. Tune in tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We'll be live from La Pachanga and Herculaneum having our show. Should be a lot of fun. We got a lot to talk about and a lot to hopefully argue about, because that's more fun that way.
Always argue.
Doing that. But appreciate you guys hanging out with us and tuning in and being a part of this game. And this has been a Between the Lines Side Out Volleyball broadcast presented by Off the Rails Media. Your final tonight: St. Pius X Lancers 3, Jefferson R-7 Blue Jays 1, and a battle of heavyweight champions right here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of this. Have a great night. This episode of Between the Lines Side Out Volleyball is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.